restrooms are right here next to room 108. The second floor bathrooms, if we have to go into the second floor overflow rooms, I can't tell you where the bathrooms are, so good luck up there. Okay, we all know the many needs that our city has. We all want our priorities considered and funded. I know that many of us are carrying a sense of uncertainty with our city as we come together around the tough budget cuts our city now faces. Tonight provides an opportunity to speak directly to our elected leaders who will need to make very difficult decisions about the budget. Tonight, if you give testimony, speak with clarity in defining your priorities. Let them know how your decisions will impact you personally and all of us ultimately. Help them to understand the problems that we must solve. As you give testimony, know that your words matter. So please, be kind, be respectful, and let everyone's voices be heard tonight. A quick overview of this evening's agenda. Counselor Dr. Mitch Green will kick us off tonight. We will receive a brief budget overview from our budget director, Ruth Levine, and that will take approximately 5 minutes. After that, our newly hired Civic Life Engagement Officer, Amanda Garcia Snell, will introduce the budget reduction exercise, which you should have heard about at the registration table. And we are all invited to complete that survey tonight, either on paper with a clipboard that's out there or through the QR code that's put everywhere around this room. So Ms. Garcia Snell, after that, will then instruct us how tonight's in-person and online public testimony will work before calling up folks to get in the queue. So she will give us an overview of our next steps. Again, thank you for showing up, and don't be shy in voicing your opinion. Now, please join me in welcoming the District 4 City Councilor, Councilor Mitch Green.
Thank you, Darlene. Now, if anyone has a medical emergency, call 911. I'm not that kind of doctor. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight and for taking the time to engage in this critical conversation about our city's future. Local government works best when the community shows up, speaks out, and holds us accountable. So whether you're here because you're passionate about housing, public safety, parks, transportation, or any other issue, I thank you. Before we dive in, I'd like to recognize the other elected leaders who are with us here tonight. Would you please all stand up and wave? Give these folks a good round of applause. They've had a long day. These are the folks that, along with myself, are going to need to make some tough decisions, and I appreciate their partnership. Now let's talk about the budget. Like many cities across the country, we're facing a historic budget gap. So why is that? The truth is, for a really long time, we've had a broken revenue system in this city. And for the last several years, these structural deficits were sort of papered over using one-time money that came from grants from the state and federal governments as part of pandemic relief. And that money is no longer there. The pandemic also changed the way our economy is structured. We no longer have as much need for people to commute downtown, which has left a lot of commercial properties vacant, further eroding our tax base. But our community's needs haven't gone away. They've only grown. Whether it's enduring or ending unsheltered homelessness, making neighborhoods safer, or maintaining our parks and roads, we still have to invest. But here's the hard truth. There's no way to balance next year's budget without affecting services and losing staff. That's why we're here tonight, to ask for your help. You may have seen the preliminary recommendations from City Administrator Michael Jordan, but I want to be clear, those recommendations are not final. It's up to City Council to decide what stays, what goes, and what gets reimagined. And your input tonight will shape those choices. If there's a program or service you care about that wasn't included in the initial recommendations, we need to hear from you on that as well. If you have ideas for cutting costs, or if there's something you believe we absolutely cannot compromise on, please tell us. This is your chance to influence the direction of this city. Over the next few weeks, city staff will compile feedback from all 5 of these budget listening sessions, and that report will guide us as we work toward approving a balanced budget this spring. Your voices will shape those decisions. To help ground us in the realities of these financial choices, Budget Director Ruth Levine will now walk us through a short presentation. After that, we'll open up the floor to your comments. So thank you again for being here, for caring, for helping us build a budget that reflects our shared values, not just the status quo, but the future we want for our city. So give yourselves a round of applause as we welcome the Budget Director up.
Great. Thanks so much, Councilor Green. That was an excellent introduction. So good evening, everyone. My name is Ruth Levine, and I'm the director of the City Budget Office. I'm very excited to be here with you tonight. I have a very brief overview. I'm going to keep it short because we're really here to hear from you. And there's a lot more information on our website, on the City Budget Office website at portland.gov/budget. We have a budget intro page, and we have more information about other ways to participate, including a link to a written budget testimony form that you can fill out, and you can provide written testimony. So if you don't get to say everything you want tonight, or you have more ideas, you can always go there and submit them that way. And those will also get reported back to the council. So as Councilor Green mentioned, at the end of February, the city administrator released what were called the preliminary budget recommendations. And these were really just a first step. It was intended to give enough information to have feedback and sessions like the one we're having tonight, but it didn't go all the way to balancing the budget. And it is just proposals, preliminary ideas at this point that are intended to be changed and expected to be changed. So the city does have a legal requirement to produce a balanced budget, and I'll talk in a minute about the sort of calendar and the process for that. At this point, we are sort of working with our best expectations about our revenues for next year. And the general fund, which is depicted roughly on the slide in front of you, is sort of the most flexible pot of money. That's where things like our property taxes, taxes from businesses, utilities and the like go. And so you can see in the slide the sort of rough breakdown in terms of the services that are funded by the general fund. So you can go to the next slide. The gap that we're talking about in the general fund that that we're working on closing is roughly $93 million for next year. You can see on the slide the sort of breakdown of the contributors to that gap. There's 19.5 that's due to a revenue shortfall just to continue with the current services we have. And that revenue shortfall is largely due to slower growing property taxes due to the sort of vacancies and commercial properties in the downtown core. In addition, there was about $30 million of one-time funding that is not continuing next year. Some of that was from federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act. Some of it was from one-time general fund revenues that we had in our budget due to higher than anticipated kind of one-time bumps in corporate profits and business taxes during the post-pandemic period. And then there's about $41 million that's includes some newly identified priorities, but some of those are those are a mix of things, including the mayor's sheltering plans, additional labor costs, additional required improvements to things like our payroll system. So there's a mix of things in that bucket. Next slide, please. In addition to the general fund, outside of the general fund, we have other areas where we have more restricted sources of revenue. And you can see some of the big ones on this slide. Many of those are also seeing significant gaps in terms of their revenues being able to keep up with their expenditures. And there's different reasons in each case. So in transportation, the gas tax revenues fell significantly during the pandemic and are growing more slowly. And likewise on parking. Permitting revenues have been down due to less permitting activity, where that's the bulk of the revenue source for that bureau. And then the parks levy, of course, has a dedicated property tax levy that's set to expire in 2026. So there are significant pressures outside the general fund as well, and you can get a rough understanding of the scale of those from this slide. Go to the next slide. So, as I said at the beginning of this presentation, we have not gotten all the way there in terms of balancing the budget. The initial preliminary budget recommendations identified about 17 million in reductions in the general fund that could be taken, as well as about 19 million of interest in the Portland Clean Energy Fund that would be transferred to the general fund. That was based on conversation with the committee. That's one-time revenue. Next slide. And then this slide kind of shows you the budget recommendations also laid out further options for balancing the budget. So those would include additional cuts. There was about $36 million of cuts that were put on the table to public safety, the sort of emergency operations and police, fire, and 911. And then we're looking at additional revenue changes as well. We're estimating that we can sort of capture some of the savings from the current fiscal year and apply those to next year. And we're looking at different external revenue sources through partnerships with other jurisdictional partners, such as the county and the state and Metro. Next slide. So here's the quick overview of the budget process. So we are here, and now it's April, and the next sort of milestone in the budget process is that the mayor will release a balanced proposed budget by May 5th, and that will sort of he will present that balanced proposed budget to City Council, and then City Council will begin the process of amending that, and then they approve the budget on May 21st, and they will adopt the budget by the middle of June. In terms of engagement, this is the third of these. There's another one on Thursday evening in District 2, which you can see on our website. And then there will be committee meetings and full council meetings where testimony will be, you can always sign up for testimony there on the council clerk's website. So I believe with that, I'm going to hand it over. Next slide.
Hi, good evening. Thank you all for being here and coming to share your thoughts with the city councilors and the mayor. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Amanda Garcia Snell. I'm the city's new Chief Engagement Officer. And I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to either scan the QR code for the budget reduction exercise or pick one up in hard copy out at the front table there. If you haven't, there are more out there, or you can scan that code. There's also a link online if you aren't able to do it this evening. I'm just going to make this a little lower because I'm not very tall. So now we're going to move into our testimony opportunities. So I'm just going to explain how that will work and give you a couple of ground rules. Tonight is about hearing from you all. It's not a back and forth conversation. We'll strike a balance between in-person comments and online comments, and we'll go in order of signups. So hopefully you had a chance to sign up if you're interested in providing comment this evening. We'll do 9 in-person comments, and then we'll take 3 online comments, and we'll move in that cadence throughout the evening. When I call your first 9 names, the first 3 people up here can sit at the table there with the microphone, and then these 6 reserved seats are for the next the next 6 in that first pack of 9. We have about 2 hours for testimony, and we'll limit each comment to 90 seconds. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you're commenting online, if you could use the raise hand function, and we'll call you in the order that you raise your hand. We'll have 2 hours for testimony. We'll limit each comment to 90 seconds. Please do your best to stick to that time so that we can hear from as many folks as possible. There will be a timer on screen, and a bell will chime. We aren't able to adjust the volume of that bell, so I apologize in advance for that tone. When testifying, please state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Please declare if you're a lobbyist. If you're representing an organization, please identify it. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony will not be allowed. If there are disruptions, a warning will be given that further disruption may result in the person being muted or asked to leave. Please know that this meeting is recorded. Thank you for helping your fellow Portlanders feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe. If you have questions or you prefer not to testify and you are in person, you're welcome to submit questions on a 3x5 card, and there were some at the table out front. If you're online, you can submit your questions through the question and answer function. We'll add those questions to a frequently asked questions document that will be on the budget join page on the city's website. So please check back there as we add questions, and that document will be updated. We will not be answering any questions tonight. Tonight is an opportunity for community to share your feedback and for the city to listen. And with that, we'll move into our first 9 names for testimony. Kenneth Thrasher, Allison Berman, Michael Knapp, Leonella Slaughter, Kimberly Hildebrand Faust, Tom Haig, Nancy Heiser, Josh Leaker, and Chris Gustafson. And the timer should come up in a minute here, and go ahead. Oh, can you hold on a second? I don't think the microphone is on. Sorry about that.
Okay, good. I need one. Okay, great.
If you could restate your name, that'd be great.
All right.
Thanks.
City Councilors and Mayor Wilson, I am Kenneth Thrasher of Northwest Portland. I'm the board chair for the Northwest Community Conservancy. I want to start by thanking the Portland Police Bureau and first responders for all they have done while the county has failed us in so many counts in dealing with unsheltered homeless, deaths on our streets, drug use, mental health issues, and increased crimes. Portland Police, under the strong leadership of Chief Dave, have done what they can on a limited budget. That's the lowest of all major cities in the United States as a percent of total budget. I think there are 2 things that we could address in the budget. Increase funding for the Portland Police Bureau and other first responders to help the city recover at a time we're kind of at a breaking point where we continue to lose more businesses and residents. Our city's reputation is not good, and tax revenues and property values drop because government is failing. Seattle and San Francisco recognize that safety and livability are essential for a city's recovery and stability. An increased police budget at a time of overall budget deficits. Reduce non-essential costs. Number 2, flatten city governments through service prioritization, zero-based budgeting, and fix Portland's #1 problem of unsheltered homelessness. The mayor has it right with his shelter program and roof project. And I think if you really start to look at this and what we need to do, it costs, based on the University of Chicago study, $36,000 per year for a person to stay unsheltered on the streets. That's for 5,400 people. That's 200 million. We can save half of that. So I think that's our opportunity, and let's get to action. Thank you.
Physically versus. Okay. Good evening. My name is Allie Berman. I'm the vice chair of the Portland Parks and Recreation Board, although today I'll be speaking on behalf of myself. To meet the mayor's budget guidance and end the next fiscal year with a balanced budget, Parks is projected to need to reduce its budget by $23 million next year. Parks is currently one of the most impacted bureaus of all that utilize the general fund. I want to ensure both council and the public knows what that means. It would mean the elimination of youth summer camp programs, citywide sports, and reduced summer free-for-all activities. It means the closure of a community center. It means eliminating Parks Run Sun community school programming. It means reducing the daily maintenance and care of our parks, trail systems, and other facilities. The impacts to all Portlanders will be immense, and hundreds of jobs will be lost. Parks and open spaces are consistently ranked as one of the things Portlanders care most about. And yet this is the bureau that council is hitting the hardest through budget cuts, rather than spreading the cuts more equitably across bureaus. This is an untenable situation for the city's parks and rec system and one that must be solved by City Council. I urge City Council to consider the following: be equitable and strategic in your budget reductions, be strategic with resources other than the general fund, refer the parks levy to voters in July to avoid catastrophic additional reductions in fiscal year 26-27. To avoid cuts this year and for the next 5 years, that means the park levy needs to be $1.60 per 1,000 of assessed value. And continue to work to create a sustainable funding model for our parks. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael Knapp. I speak here to encourage you to continue funding for Portland Parks and Rec's Golden Basketball League. There are a number of representatives here and others will be speaking to you today to describe the benefits to kids throughout the city who participate in the Golden Ball program. I want to address another group, a smaller group, and that's all the young men and women who sign up as referees to participate in that program year in and year out. Just a brief background about myself. I'm a recently retired attorney. I was looking for ways to give back to the community. I played basketball in college. My wife says, hey, there's this program, go sign up. I thought I could just come in and ref some basketball. I played it, I know it. Forget about it. No. There is a great program that Portland Parks and Rec puts on, the Golden Ball League, to train referees, some old like me, but most of them kids, high school kids. We go through a tough program. We have great leaders. A lot of them are here today, and they teach these kids how to be on time, to show up, to have your shirt tucked in, to be able to take control of the situation. Parents, other refs, people who are there, and put on the games effectively and have a good time and learn some stuff about yourself. And I can just tell you, they're all great kids. And if this program goes away, there's like 60 or 70 kids are not going to have that anymore each year. I encourage you to find a way to make the money so the program can go. Thank you.
We'll figure that out. Don't sweat it. They're sweating it. I am Tom Haig and I'm representing Parks and Rec Citywide Sports. My story is both unique and universal. My entire life, I was a competitive athlete. I was fortunate enough to compete internationally, both as an able-bodied and a disabled athlete. And about 10 years ago, I blew out my shoulder and I couldn't train anymore. This put me in a deep funk. I was not feeling normal at all. About 7 months ago, I got an email from Parks and Rec saying, we're looking for referees for our Golden Ball Basketball League. And I was like, oh, I don't know if they'll take a wheelchair guy, but I might as well just go there and try. I go there and they didn't bat an eye. Went to this training session, this like 6-7 week long training session. Nobody was saying, we're not gonna let you do it. They were all making sure I could find my place. And this year I became the first wheelchair referee in the 87-year history of Portland Golden Ball. Golden Ball has been doing this for decades. They have sent thousands of kids just looking for a place to participate because these kids don't have the money to join the traveling teams. These are the kids that get cut from their grade school basketball teams looking for a place to belong. And we're saying this is the place to belong. So do your best and make sure that this citywide safety net does not get cut, because if you cut, people will fall through and it will be much more expensive than the price of Golden Ball basketball.
Hi, my name's Kim Hildebrand Faust, and I'm here to urge you to fund Portland Street Response. In July of 2023, I called them and we had a great experience. I'm positive that they helped prevent an escalation of a situation involving someone who either had Alzheimer's, mental problems, or was on drugs. Here's what happened. My husband and 2 kids were inside our house and I was in the backyard. I briefly went inside and found a strange lady looking in my fridge. Like Goldilocks, she had opened our front door, went upstairs and dropped off her things. She then came down to the kitchen for dinner. She introduced herself, told me not to look at her like she was crazy, and asked if I had any toast. It was like a weird improv scene involving avocado toast, balsamic vinegar, and a barefoot stranger. I was able to coax her outside with the avocado toast so I could inform my family that we had a visitor. I called 911, who said that they would send the police unless I could get the woman to the sidewalk. I waited with the woman on the sidewalk and street response was there within 15 minutes. They spent a good hour caring for her and eventually brought her to a hotel to reunite her with her cousin who lives in West Lynn. It was the best response I could have hoped for. Please fund street response.
Hello, I'm Lena Alice Slaughter. Yes, you've seen me before. I am the union rep for Local 43, but I'm here to talk about our summer camps. While I do represent our full-time, I also represent our casual staff, and most of those are high school students. Most of those are young adults. So I wanted to give you some facts. 2024, we hire 357. 81% of them are returning staff. 19% are new staff. Out of those, 72% are 15 and over. 28% are 18 and over. And I can tell you, 2 of those are my sons. If summer camps went away, and I'm not even including sports, I'm not including son who hires, this is just summer camp, summer free for our park squad, and fitness in the park. If you take away these services, these kids are not going to have anywhere to work. And I can tell you, if you are a Park and Rec employee, you have at some point worked as a teen. This is usually their first introduction to a job. And I know we're saying that the city of Portland is the employer of choice, is also the employer of choice of our kids who become later in life city of choice, city employees. So if you take away that choice for them to working in the summer, you're taking away their choice or their future. Thank you.
Hello. Greetings. Thank you, counselors and Mayor Wilson, for being here. I am Chris Gustafson, District 3 resident renter, he, him pronouns. In my day job, I'm the accounting lead for the Portland Housing Bureau. In my leisure time, I am the treasurer for the City of Portland Professional Workers Union. I am testifying on my own behalf today. And I would like to briefly discuss something. I feel like the Portland community has embraced the idea of a $93 million general fund shortfall with a lot of credulity. If you look at the city's breakdown of that $93 million, $42 million of that is new spending. Is that fair to call that a part of the general fund shortfall? I would say no. Additionally, $30 million of that shortfall is from expiring one-time programs. A lot of those one-time programs, if you ask the former council, they expected that they would be taken over by the county when the funding resolved. So is it fair to call that part of the shortfall? I would also contend probably not. So what we really are looking at is a $21 million ongoing shortfall that is the result of credits and refunds to the business license tax that were exceeded the forecast. So I feel like, you know, it's important to put that in a lot of context. So additionally, I'd like to just quickly touch on something, and that is that the reorganization process that seems to be going through the city right now doesn't appear to be engaging in a lot of new efficiencies. What we can see happening with the comms people is that they're just adding extra layers of management on that. So it doesn't appear to be adding the efficiencies we expect. Thanks, everyone.
Hello, counselors and Mayor Wilson. My name's Nancy Heiser. I'm a resident and a new lobbyist for the CEI Hub Community Safety. You city councilors won your seats because you campaigned on the basis of transparency, accountability, and community engagement, the failings of the previous city government. It's been a pleasure to watch you in action, calling out transparency, accountability, and community safety, to rebuild the trust in our city that we hadn't had. The Government Transition Advisory Committee recently testified that the city administration rejected their recommendations to allocate council resources for staffing and low-cost temporary offices. If you are to succeed, and we really want you to succeed, what are your budget needs to do the job that will be the change the public wants? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Josh Leake. I'm an executive director of the Portland Film Festival, former candidate for mayor. Congratulations, Mayor Wilson. I'm here to talk about cutting funds. Let's tap into our greatest resource. They're here, they're amongst us. I talked to the two ladies out there. It's our city employees. Let's ask them about what efficiencies we can do, where we can save money. Those on the front lines see opportunities that we often miss. While facing budget constraints, we should establish dedicated channels for employee suggestions that could preserve essential services and improve operations. Their practical knowledge will yield more sustainable solutions than cuts alone. Let's make Portland better. Let's create a culture where innovation is recognized and rewarded. Thank you.
And now we'll take 3 online commenters, Matt Shipkey, and then Corinne Frechette, and then Diane Odette. Go ahead, Matt.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Matt Shipkey, and I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. 8 years ago, I made the decision to move to Portland because of the superior quality of life it offered over the New York City area. I think a key component of that quality of life for me was and remains our special Portland Park system. I know I'm not alone in that feeling. Just a couple of weeks ago, when I was biking along NATO, I saw thousands of folks enjoying the cherry blossoms in our wonderful waterfront parks. I appreciate this is a difficult budget cycle for the city, and I would also ask you to keep in mind that our park system drives economic activity and population growth and retention in our city. Folks are more mobile with their work than they ever have been, and they clearly prioritize places with easy access to high-quality green spaces to live and work in. Let's not lose that unique advantage we hold, as it will make future budget holes even more challenging to get out of. I urge City Council to not place the burden of budget reduction solely upon Portland Parks and Recreation, and for City Council to refer the parks levy for renewal at the earliest possible opportunity and to increase the levy rate so that current service levels so treasured by Portlanders can be maintained. Thank you for the opportunity.
Corinne?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. As a District 4 resident, an immigrant, a mother, an educator, and a very long-time volunteer to a houseless community, life has become increasingly difficult in Portland. In Old Town, we live in the midst of an absolute heart-wrenching humanitarian crisis. We live amongst abject poverty, terrible untreated mental illness, acute substance use disorder, which frequently results in ODs, which are fatal. We witness terrible violence, drug sales, trafficking, violence onto females, human trafficking. We do our very best to alleviate the suffering, and we have done that for almost 30 years. By the same token, we live in the most taxed county in America. Our basic expectations as heavily tax burdened residents are to get core services, police, fire, 911, service to the unhoused, and mental health response, such as PSR. The equation that we're given, either it's police or it's PSR. Either we repair the roads or we close down our shelters, is pathetic and profoundly immoral. If we had the money to multiply city councilors, give large raises, and renovate City Hall by 20 million, we certainly should not be facing those choices. Fund our police, our fire, BOIC, PSR, our homeless services, do the right thing. And if it means take a pay cut, do it. I'm sorry I'm emotional, I just witnessed something difficult.
And Diane Odette.
Hi there. My name is Diane O'Day, and I am an employee of Southeast Uplift, which is the coalition that serves District 3. I am also a PhD student studying civic engagement and its role in upholding democratic values. I'm speaking to you today as a private citizen and a resident of District 4. At a time when our nation's democracy is in peril, there has been a renewed interest and importance in reviving civic life at the local level. Neighborhood associations are integral to this revival. They function as conveners of important decision makers such as yourselves and serve as a conduit to community members in the neighborhoods you were elected to serve. In addition to their role in the city's democratic decision-making, unpaid volunteers work tirelessly to improve the quality of life for their neighbors by organizing many events that enhance the social connectedness amongst each other. They do this with very little financial support from the city. The primary material support they receive happens via general liability insurance and small grants to carry out their community building initiatives. The return on investment for what you provide to neighborhood associations is high. Insurance makes grants more accessible because many funders require insurance. Furthermore, this material support empowers neighborhood associations to harness thousands of hours of volunteer time, effort, and expertise annually. In essence, what you get from neighborhood associations is much more than what you give. I'm asking you to ensure that you continue to support and empower neighborhood associations.
Thank you. Bob Weinstein, Rory Reed, or maybe Raj Reed, Brian Kotlov, Ross Taylor, Inga Fisher-Williams, Lucy Morrow, Ben Gilbert, Daniel Johnson, and Diane Lynn.
Mayor and Council, good evening. My name is Bob Weinstein. The fiscal gap presents an opportunity to realign priorities towards essential services. Public safety, fire and police must top this list, along with livability initiatives, including Portland Solutions, neighborhoods and neighborhood associations, park maintenance, and infrastructure improvements. Difficult budget decisions require true leadership. Leadership means cutting bureaucratic bloat, not shuffling chairs on a sinking ship. Can Portland truly afford 85 communication staff across 6 service areas, plus a new centralized office, while essential services suffer? Leadership means reforming severance policies that waste taxpayer funds. It means fixing infrastructure, like the crumbling stretch of Northwest 23rd between Lovejoy and Thurman, instead of accepting PBOT's suggestion to delay repairs for another 5 to 10 years for a hypothetical streetcar extension. It means addressing critical vulnerabilities like the CEI Hub. Leadership means supporting projects with economic development focus like the James Beard Public Market. Leadership does not mean presenting an unbalanced, incomplete budget, nor does it mean accepting a $22,000 raise on top of a $300,000 salary and $120,000 retirement packages when layoffs loom. When I faced similar circumstances, the first thing I did was ask my school board to cut my salary. Portlanders deserve leadership that prioritizes fiscal responsibility, essential services, and real solutions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rory Reed. I live in Cully, and I work for the Parks Bureau over at Mount Tabor. Definitely speaking for myself tonight. At Parks, we have right now we have a DCA, we have a director, we have an assistant director whose title changes, but we basically have 3 sort of super top level senior directors, and we have a full suite of senior managers. In February, that entire group was approaching individuals and telling them that they may be impacted employees, and they were doing it without the aid of seniority lists. At the same time, they were telling people that they might be being laid off. They were hiring 2 additional managers. So we've got managerial bloat right there. We've got a management team that is sufficiently removed from its front line that it doesn't seem to understand sort of a really foundational part of its contractual relationship with labor. And it's a really, really bad look for those of us that are still there and we're still working. So this is still unfolding. It's not looking like it's getting a lot better, but it's not too late to stop hiring. That's not really, really vital while we see ourselves through these last few months, and maybe reach in and give some of these people a little bit of a nudge and ask them to look at themselves instead of looking at frontline 483 members. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Brian Kotlov, District 4 resident. Let's be honest about the revenue gap that was highlighted earlier. It's not remote work. People and businesses are fleeing Portland because of drugs, crime, and visible homelessness. The loss of residents and businesses is directly impacting our city's revenue. To even consider reducing funding for police and public safety at a time like this would be irresponsible. It sends the wrong message and would further exacerbate the doom loop image of the city. Portlanders want a budget that addresses our most pressing issues head-on. That means prioritizing public safety as the foundation of livability. We need more patrols, faster response times, and a commitment to enforcing laws that keep our neighborhoods safe. On the administrative side, the city should expect more from those higher up on the org chart. In the private sector, when belts need to be tightened, managers are asked to take on more responsibility and increase their spans of control. It's time for managers across the city bureaus to do the same. Let's reduce managerial overhead instead of cutting the frontline workers who actually deliver services. Finally, it would be irresponsible not to use funds from the Portland Clean Energy Fund to help close the budget gap. Any family facing a financial crisis wouldn't leave a single stone unturned when prioritizing essentials like public safety. In just 580 days, all councilors for District 4 and District 3 will be up for re-election. If you choose to cut critical services while leaving money untouched in a fund that is already overfunded, the negative campaign ad practically writes itself. Thank you.
I'm Ross Taylor. I am a resident of District 4, and thank you for this opportunity. Given that the proposed city budget still has a deficit, it is important that the city council set the right priorities in making further cuts. Essential services that make Portland livable and that people use every day need to be funded. That includes keeping the parks operating, providing clean water and sewer services, disaster preparedness, particularly the CEI tank farms on the river, and Portland Street Response, other services to people in crisis, and housing. An area where the current budget proposal is recommending a major increase rather than a cut is the Portland Police Bureau. There is no reason why the Police Bureau should be immune from cuts. The police do not solve problems or reduce crime, unlike other city services. They handle the problems after they occur. The priorities of the Police Bureau need to be examined, and just some examples that I'm aware of. The police are harassing workers, people who are protecting peaceful protesters from traffic. Police have been ticketing them. This seems to be particularly directed at protests led by non-white people. They've been an uninvited and intimidating presence at town halls held by the city councilors who are prioritizing accountability. And I just noted at the Community and Public Safety Committee on March 11th about PSR, there was a discussion that you needed to be sure not to link PSR too closely to the police because it would discredit PSR. Why are we wanting to increase funding to a bureau that is not trusted by the people of Portland? Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you. Mayor, I want to thank you for bringing the workers back into their offices, into town. It's long overdue. I applaud it. I've been a resident for more than 30 years. My name is Inge Fisher-Williams. I now live just off of McAdam Boulevard when I sold my house and retired from major involvement. In my own experience with the city over the years, I've had the impression that the reputation that city staff works in silos is well deserved. There are too many that act like functionaries and follow rules instead of creating innovative solutions. And there was a man here earlier who said we really need to focus on that. So I think you have a brilliant opportunity to right-size this organization, to look for people who are innovators and go-getters and focus on outcomes, not on process. That takes me right to my key point, and that's the Portland Clean Energy Fund. I think it is gross incompetence that it has built up a large piggy bank that now is ready to be raided. It should have been put to use a long time ago. And there are many needs, internal or external. And if we didn't have all these bloody silos, maybe some people would marry their objections to each other. And so that the objective of homelessness and housing and net zero apartments could be married into a project where the PSEF money could be leveraged to get more money to put it to use. I see the knives are out to sharpen that fund and get it depleted. That is like eating your seed corn, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's inappropriate.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lucy Morrow. I'm a board member of Concordia Neighborhood Association and a member of the Friends of the Concordia Commons. I come to you tonight to talk about Concordia Commons, our neighborhood plaza. But I want to talk about all the plazas and the block parties and the street fairs that all come under the same category. What they mean to our neighborhood. We don't have a rec center or a pool. Our plaza is our neighborhood meeting place. We have concerts and game night, garden fairs. Mothers groups meet there where their children they play hopscotch, make drawings with colored chalk on the sidewalk. Neighbors come out of their homes and meet for a cup of coffee and a beer. Mayor Wilson, you recently said, and I quote, "Portland becomes the best version of our city when we fill our street plazas with families, bicycles, farmers markets, music, and small businesses. From Ankeny Rainbow Road to St. John's Plaza, this visionary flourishing of public spaces has grown from a dream to a community staple." I have now attended several budget meetings and I have heard the same thing in every meeting. Whether it's the St. John's Rec Center or Montevia's after-school sports or Sun's School, people want you to invest in our neighborhoods. A gentleman from St. John's said, if you close our rec center and pools, why would we stay? Who will
Thank you.
patronize our restaurants and bars and coffee houses? And when those
Thank
businesses
you
are boarded up with
for your
Airbnb,
comments. You're at time.
who gets insurance? You'll kill our neighborhoods.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Diane Lynn. I'm a former county commissioner and chair. I've been in your position. I've had to make very tough budgetary decisions in the past. Some of you know that I've been involved in affordable housing and homelessness issues for years. Most importantly, I'm a District 4 resident and a mother and a grandmother. I'm here tonight to focus on one specific program because you know I could say a lot about a lot of things, but tonight, the Sun School program was established over 25 years ago. It stood the test of time. It is the most effective intervention program for kids in their adolescence that you'll find anywhere. It's student-led, it's data-based, because if we don't keep kids active between the hours of 3 and 6 in the evening, if you haven't seen the mini-series Adolescence, I recommend that you do, because we're really looking at some serious problems around our kids' development if we can't keep them active and their academic achievement moving forward. This program is tried and true, and it's based on a huge partnership between the city, the county, and the school districts and nonprofits. I also want to say that the community centers could be transformed into more of a nonprofit-led effort. That could be, and the best model I've seen is the Selwood Community House. I think you'll be hearing from them at some point too. I want to thank you all for your service. It's not easy. Thank you.
Council members, Mayor, my name is Daniel Johnson. I'm a proud member of Local 43 Fire Union, and I'm sharing today the views I'm sharing today are my own, not those of the Fire Bureau. I am one of 22 members from CHAT. Both CHAT and PSR programs are vital to our community's future of emergency response. As we navigate an ever-changing world, it is essential for Portland to remain at the forefront of innovative emergency response strategies. I urge you to continue funding the CHAT program, which serves our community and emergency responders. The CHAT program is invaluable. It helps prevent burnout amongst firefighters by alleviating the pressure of non-emergency calls, allowing them to focus on higher priority 911 emergencies. More importantly, it directly benefits community members by connecting them to critical services such as shelter, primary care doctors, housing, medical insurance, employment resources, and detox facilities. Here are a few quotes from community members who have been positively impacted by the program. Everyone who said they would help us ended up not following through, but your team kept their word and provided the support my partner and I needed. I love the CHAT team. You're the light at the end of my tunnel. If you hadn't helped me find caregiver support, I honestly don't know how I would have managed on my own. The CHAT team is dependable. Thank you for your time.
Hello, City Council and Mayor Wilson. My name is Ben, and I'm a tenant in District 4 and a member of the Portland Democratic Socialists of America. I'm testifying today that you protect the Portland Clean Energy Fund from being used for non-climate general fund purposes. Before I get into why PSEF is important, I think we need to highlight that of the $90 million budget shortfall, $30 million of which is the result of one-time COVID grants being used to cover ongoing expenses and then running out. Electeds think in 2- and 4-year cycles, and so it's very easy to make decisions that feel good now, but doom the city in 5 years. I'm here today asking you to think beyond the timeline of your next election, because if we raid PSEF now and make no meaningful reforms, in 2030 we will be having this exact conversation, just without a PSEF fund to show for it either. At the last City Council Climate Committee meeting, PSEF made clear that it intends to spend down its $1.6 billion fund over the next 5 years. To take funding away from this program necessarily defunds key climate investments, from street trees to counter the urban heat island effect in East Portland, to building retrofits and electrification efforts, to rebuild the rebuild of 82nd Avenue. Hands off these climate investments. And I'd like to add, always chop from the top. Thank you.
And now we'll take our next 3 online comments. You could say your name for the record, Mr. Pink, Victoria Villa, and Eric A. Go ahead, Mr. Pink. Seem to be muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. All right, thank you, counselors and Mayor Wilson for hearing us today. I'm Chris Pink, the property owner of the Smoke Shop Building and Paris Theater in Old Town. I want to thank you for bringing workers back downtown, and please continue to fund the police. I'm also here in support of the continuation of the Plaza program. What the Plaza program does with its limited budget far outweighs the cost to keep the program active. As a member of the Ankeny Alley Association, we have received direct and invaluable support in activating and reducing crime and negative behavior in our public plaza at a time when it's needed the most, particularly when more feet on the street equate less negative behavior in our neighborhoods. PBOT has offered invaluable guidance, support, and assisting and activating our gathering spaces around the city for neighborhoods to come together. In the case of Ankeny Alley, we've received support in programming, including art installations, the Coraline exhibit, the Nautilus exhibit, music programming, Winter Lights Festival funding and activation, grants for permanent installations in our plaza. And these are all a direct result of PBOT support. I want to thank you for your time, and please continue to bring workers back downtown, support the police and PBOT, and thank you very much.
Victoria Villa.
Hello, my name is Victoria Villa. I live in the Alphabet District in Northwest, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. I ask that the city retain funding for the PBOT public street plazas, street painting, and play spaces programs, and other important street-based programs. These programs do so much to enhance community bonds, vibrancy, and safety, and they directly support important adjacent local businesses. At the public street plazas in District 4, I've seen community members put on their own events. I see neighbors utilizing the seating in these plazas, especially in neighborhoods that otherwise lack public seating. I've seen tourists taking pictures, inspired and amazed by how we activate public space in Portland. I recognize that hard decisions need to be made, but these PBOT programs are critical in a time when community centers, public parks, and programs for children, seniors, and people of all ages might lose funding. We can't lose the collective joy that these street-based programs bring to Portland. Thank you for your consideration.
And Eric A.
Hello, councilors and mayor. Thank you for taking the time to listen to constituents as we go through this budget process. My name is Eric Ace, and I'm a father and a constituent of District 4. The budget that we choose to pass determines the values of our city. What makes this city great is our focus on community and hopes for accessibility through things like expanded biking lanes, beautiful parks, vibrant community centers, library programs for all ages, and support for our houseless brothers and sisters. I urge you to please make sure we protect our libraries, parks, Portland Street Response, and our community centers. It's important we showcase our dedication to constituents and support for all these programs. I think many Portlanders would agree that if our taxes are used effectively, we are happy to support our neighbors through tax increases. So today I urge you to please reallocate funds from wasteful and unproven methods of encouraging safety in the city, like public safety overtime and equipment that are not needed to support our communities, like drones and Cessna airplanes, and also to increase taxes on the fortunate among us, even if it includes my family, to ensure we can all live in a community that supports everyone and not just the most well-off among us. This is all more federal tax cuts that are likely to take place with this new administration. We have enough wealth in the city to take care of each other and continue to improve upon its legacy for everyone. Thank you so much for your time and desire to hear from your constituents.
And now we'll take 9 in-person folks. Jordan Lewis, Jim Labby, Rebecca Jacobson, Lucy Blanchard, Jay Julis, Tristan Flores Carly, Chris Silky, Nancy Champlin, and Marion Schwab. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Hello, Mayor Wilson and city councilors. My name is Jim Labby. I live in District 2 and I'm speaking for myself tonight. First, one comment about the process. I think you would agree that the budgeting process leaves you too little time to hear from the public, review the mayor's proposal, and make changes to the budget. We need to, and that's just the start of the problem with the process. We need to transform the budget process and make it more transparent, accountable, equitable, and participatory for everyone. Second point is there's all the talk is about cuts and finding efficiencies or rating the PSEF fund, which you heard yesterday. That money has been allocated. It's not available to reallocate to other things. We're a wealthy city. There's a lot of wealth. We all know there's a lot of wealth in this city. All the more so as we're seeing these federal tax cuts extended. We all know our property values have grown astronomically since we cut property taxes in the 90s. Mayor Wilson, I urge you to come forward with some progressive revenue raising tools. It's true that a lot of them have been limited by the legislature, but there's tools out there. We could look at a frontage fee, a progressively designed frontage fee. And I think for the long term, we need to fire up the government relations staff, work with the other municipalities, and get the legislature to overturn a lot of these preemptions on the progressive revenue tools that we need so that the wealthy pay their fair share in the city. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Jacobson, and I'm a resident of District 4. And I'm here to talk about housing. Every time we pay our rent or our mortgage, some of that money goes to the super wealthy because the super wealthy own most of the houses or the mortgages on those houses. The super wealthy have millions of dollars of passive income. That is income that they get because of the things they own, like houses and mortgages and other assets. And because they are so wealthy, they get far more passive income than what they need to live. What do they do with that extra money? They buy more assets. And then they start receiving passive income from those assets too. This is a positive feedback loop. And by positive, I do not mean it's a good thing. It will only end with the super wealthy owning everything and the rest of us owning nothing. If regular people hope to own anything in the future, we must reverse this trend. We can start by taxing the super wealthy and providing affordable housing to regular people, support services for houseless people, and build new housing. Thank you.
Hello, City Council. My name is Jordan Lewis, and I live and work in the Stadium Hood. I'm here because I've sat for 3 of these sessions, this is my 3rd, and watched parents plead for their kids' school and summer programs not to be cut. It's been hard to watch these and not feel like something is deeply wrong with our society. How can the richest country in the world not afford to run services for their children? According to the Oregonian, last year, Portland police paid $18 million in overtime alone. Portland Fire and Rescue paid $24 million. That's half the budget hole right there. These dollars are totally decoupled from outcomes. Frankly, it undermines the very premise these people serve us and not the other way around. See the million we blew on police overtime on election week, or the intimidation our counselors face on the clock at their own town halls. Every year, the bureaus say they're hiring their way out of the overtime pit, but why believe them when they get 6-figure salaries for slow walking it? Many Safety Bureau employees have an extractive relationship with this city. If I made over $250K annually, and 46 of the 57 city employees who do are in police or fire, and I knew the budget crises could lose hundreds of city employees their jobs, I would be willing to sacrifice some of my toy budget or maybe even some overtime hours so that those 250 families don't face unemployment on the eve of a recession. That's what serving looks like to me. If police aren't going to take initiative to fix overtime spending, then fund Portland Street Response instead and make PPB share budget cuts so that other hardworking civil servants who make do with so much less don't have to. Thank you.
Go ahead, the next three folks.
Hello, my name is Tristan Flores. I'm a District 4 resident and a current student. At a time when the city is looking to reformat, restructure, and reestablish trust with our community, I'm hoping that the city council does not cut services that show the people of Portland that government can work for them and for working families. Programs like Portland Street Response, our Portland Parks and Recreation, and other services of this nature that affect working families and those unfortunate enough to be homeless on our streets are vital to the revitalization of our city. The revitalization of Portland is not found through policing measures. It's found through addressing the underlying purposes or underlying reasons that the people on our streets are homeless to begin with. Fully funding solutions for housing and the underlying causes of poverty throughout our city is vital, as well as ensuring that the livability standards of those who make up the broader population is reserved. I'm asking that you reserve public funding for programs in the parks, our street plazas, our anything that just makes this city a wonderful place to be that I grew up in and that I love so much, and to address the overfunding of overtime for police and other needless expenditures. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson and city councilors. Thank you for being here this evening. Very difficult decisions you have to make. My name is Jay Jewis, and I'm speaking on behalf, in support of Portland Parks and Rec citywide sports. And I'm a 27-year military veteran. 3 years I've refereed in city sports programs. And as far as from my military career, I moved my family 7 times and into different communities around the country. And I can't tell you how important sports was in integrating my family and integrating with the community in all these moves. It taught my children teamwork and how to get along with others and gave them a lot of confidence. As a referee, I want to say kudos to Portland's Park and Rec citywide sports programs for putting such a great program together for training referees. I went through training with hundreds of teenagers in the Portland area, and the leadership skills, the ability to work with others, and just a sense of teamwork from the referees was incredibly humbling to me. And it's one of the great programs in the city. So I'd just like to say, I hope you can support Portland Parks and Rec citywide sports in the future and invest in our children's future.
Hello, my name is Lucy Blanchard. I'm 11 years old and I play on the Girly Papa Shots for the Golden Youth Basketball Program. A lot of my friends, including my best friend forever, Hattie Gray, play on the Golden Youth Basketball League. I'm always grinning from ear to ear when the season starts, and I'm very unhappy when it ends. It is the best league in Portland by far. I've had an amazing experience playing with them. It's definitely the best league I've played in. Finally, Golden League does everything in their power to make sure everyone has a fun season. Those are all the reasons I think that you shouldn't cut the Golden Youth League basketball program. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Mary Ann Schwab. I'm a resident of the Sunnyside Neighborhood, District 3, and I'm happy to see two of them here. I am here today to restore the proposed cuts to the neighborhood program in the Office of Community and Civic Life. Started in 1977. Go to the archives and they'll send you an email. The neighborhood program provides services that allow volunteers in all 94 neighborhood associations throughout the city to come improve their community. This program is studied by other countries such as Japan, which sends delegation of civic leaders to Portland each summer to learn how our neighborhood program engages with community. Though the program is small, its impact is big when neighbors come together with other neighbors to do such things as host community cleanups, form neighborhood energy teams, advocate for safer streets, organize tree plantings, create street plazas, do a clothing drive for unsheltered neighbors, collect people, each another in other governments, and a whole lot more. We finally have representative democracy in Portland. I really, really count on every one of you to really pay attention to the children in schools. I've attended 2 of these already and they keep cutting and cutting and cutting children. Please, it's serious about improving engagement in our city. Please do not cut neighborhood programs that have been a vital part of the fabric of the civic life in Portland over 50 years. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson and City Council. Thank you for your time. My name is Nancy Champlin. I'm the Executive Director of the nonprofit, nonpartisan Southeast Uplift District Coalition, and I'm a District 4 resident in Southeast Portland. I come to you tonight as one of the city's 4 district coalition offices funded through Civic Life to urge you to protect the neighborhood program from proposed devastating cuts. Over the last 5 decades, the neighborhood program has provided a vital piece of Portland's civic engagement infrastructure. It was created by your predecessors in response to the people-powered movement of the 60s and their desire to give Portlanders a more active role in the decisions that will impact their lives. These leaders recognized during a tumultuous time in our nation's history that civic engagement is the cornerstone to a healthy relationship between a government and its people. Today, we sit at a similar crossroads with American democracy under attack. Here in Portland, the district coalitions and the hundreds of groups that we uplift are leaning into this new form of city government because it holds the promise of a more robust and equitable participation. The city's continued small investment in the neighborhood program is needed now more than ever. As nonprofits, we are nimble in ways the city is not. We fill the gaps in services that government cannot, and we do it all for an extremely cost-effective manner that the city could never replicate. So please prevent cuts to the neighborhood program so that we may meet this historic moment together. Thank you.
Hi, thank you all for being here this evening. My name is Chris Silkey, and I'm a District 4 constituent. First, I just want to say it's all important. Everything you're hearing is important. These are all vital services. And some of what I'm about to say isn't going to be popular with everyone, but I think it's important to say it. First, leaders should eat last. And by that, I mean, we should, in the spirit of shared sacrifice, we should phase out a cost of living adjustment and institute pay cuts for non-represented employees above a certain threshold. And by my math, that can save about $10 million, depending on where you do the cut and how progressive you are with it. And you know what, if someone wants to leave, so be it. There will be someone to fill that gap. It will also lower the city's cost structure going forward. And it may entice someone who's eligible for retirement to choose that path. Second, many of our basic services are climate related. I voted for the Portland Clean Energy and Community Benefits Fund in 2018, just like most Portlanders. But there's no climate action without active transportation. There's no climate action without environmental education. And there's no climate action without urbanization. So using PSEF to address climate-related city services makes sense. You may notice that I'm wearing an American flag. I'm wearing it upside down in solidarity with federal employees. If I were wearing a City of Portland flag, it would not be upside down, but it wouldn't be straight. So thank you.
And we'll take our next 3 online comments. Marina Dreeben, Shohei Kobayashi, and Rita Alvis Stone. Go ahead, Marina.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right.
Yes.
My name is Marina Dreeben, and I'm 25, which I say just so you know that as a young person, I am very aware of how this budget affects me, and I care. And I'm here because I am really concerned about proposed budget cuts to Portland Parks and Rec. I spent this summer as a crew leader for the city's youth conservation crew, which is a program that hires crews of high school students to do environmental stewardship work in Portland parks. And I just really love that program. I think it is so important, and the proposed budget puts that program at risk. So I want to tell you a little bit about the program. Not only do these crews do an incredible amount of work to keep our parks healthy, my crew specifically was trail crew, so we were building and maintaining trails and parks throughout the city. But these high school crew members also gain skills in trail building, park maintenance, tree identification, gardening, not to mention leadership and teamwork skills that help them in whatever paths they choose for their futures. YCC builds a community and ethos of young people who care about taking care of the environment and our green spaces. They are motivated, hardworking, and caring high schoolers, and the idea of cutting this program is just really upsetting to me. Thank you.
Shohei Kobayashi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, neighbors, friends, Mayor Wilson, city councilors. I'm a District 4 resident, college professor, and I've been living in Portland for about 10 years now. I just want to underscore a few things that my very smart neighbors have already said. Portland Police Bureau, whose track record of unhinged terror on Portlanders can be seen in the documentary Arresting Power, Resisting Police Violence in Portland, Oregon, should receive absolutely no additional funding and should be put through the same kinds of budget cuts that we're seeing in other programs. More funding for the Police Bureau does not make us safer and only benefits the wealthy, and even that benefit is conditional. It's no coincidence that in the same recommendations, we're seeing massive potential budget cuts for Portland Parks and Rec, which will disproportionately affect low-income communities and neighbors and families of color. If our city leadership is to show in action how they care about us and not only the rich, they would prioritize funding for programs that promote livability for the masses, like Parks and Rec and summer programs, emergency response, like fire and Portland street response, and not the police and their exorbitant overtime dollars. Lastly, the kinds of cuts we're seeing for programs for kids is directly related to the increased funding for police. The rich imagine a world of filled private prisons, making them more and more passive income by way of legal slave labor. Let's be at the forefront of seeing this pattern, fund programs for kids, and defund the police. Thank you.
And Rita Alvis Stone. Go ahead, Rita. I think you might be muted.
I already
Unmute.
spoke.
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. My name is Rita Alvis Stone. I'm sorry I couldn't be here in person downtown. It's because I'm a solo parent. I live off Northeast 92nd. I work for Portland Parks Maintenance on Southeast 136. I'm here to tell you, don't cut Parks Maintenance. I'm going to repeat that. Don't cut Parks Maintenance. I want to specifically bring to your attention a few things in the Vibrant Communities Decision Package recommendations. That is page 5 in that document. Eliminate the utility crew. I oppose that. Please do not eliminate the utility crew. Page 39, eliminate the arborist 3 position. I oppose that. Do not eliminate that position. And page 44, reduce and combine East Lands maintenance. I oppose that. Please don't reduce and combine East Lands maintenance. These are more than just budget line items. These are people who need these jobs in a community that needs public parks more than any other part of the city. So please take these recommendations. I appreciate you listening to me.
And now we'll take our next 9 in-person comments. Hattie Gray, Jean Gray, Adam Brendel, Marianne Fitzgerald, Aidan Summers, Darcy Yee Gates, Stephanie McBaron, Tori Maurer, and Virginia Ellerby.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson and Portland City Council members. My name is Hattie, and I am a fifth grader at Ainsworth Elementary. I recently heard of the proposed budget cuts to the Portland Parks and Recreation Department, and I encourage you to reconsider the cuts and to continue funding programs for children and families. I have done Golden Ball for the past 3 years, and it has taught me the love of basketball, teamwork skills, and it's a life-changing program. I also did the 5K Family Fun Run when I was 3. Unfortunately, I got stung by a bee, but otherwise, it was an enjoyable experience. I have grown up at the Southwest Community Center, through infant swim lessons to the summer swim team, and now Golden Ball and the Teen Force program. Our community centers are the heart of Portland, and programming for kids and families are worth funding. If kids aren't worth investing in, then what is? Thank you for your time, and I hope you will reconsider the cuts.
Good evening. My name is Jean Gray, and I am the proud parent of Hattie Gray and also a district and resident 4. I'm a mom of 2, a local educator, and a very regular visitor to Southwest Community Center. As my daughter said, she and her little brother have both done almost every program that they could there, from dance classes when they were little to swimming now. They swim there 4 days a week after school. Her little brother was there swimming tonight, so he couldn't be here. But they have both loved Golden Ball. That has been one program that has stood above and beyond for both of my kids, and that the community that it's created and the staff that they have is just above and beyond what you'd expect from local community programming. They are fantastic, and I would urge you to think about what makes Portland great, because it hasn't been the easiest place to live for a couple years. Safety has been questionable. My kids go to school right above downtown, and it has had some challenges. So Portland Parks and Rec is really one of the main things that I think our families are really appreciating and still benefiting from, and cuts to that would be detrimental to our community.
City Council, Mayor Wilson. My name is Adam Brindell, and I live just a few blocks from here at American Plaza Towers Condominiums, where I serve on the Security Committee and the next Board of Directors. At 337 units, we're the largest condo association in the state of Oregon and possibly the densest residential block in the city. That means the most voters per square foot. Our concrete, electrically heated towers are a model of high-density urban living, and they're climate-friendly. Most of our residents are older than me, and many are disabled. Just 1 week ago, one of our older residents was robbed at knife point and cut in broad daylight, middle of the afternoon, 1 block away from home. We cannot cut even $1 from our public safety services, not from fire, police, PSR, BOEC, or adjacent programs like Ceasefire, which have prevented many in our city from becoming criminals or victims. Moreover, safe and orderly public spaces are a matter of equity. More privileged people, by definition, have more choice in where and when they can work, whether to use transit, walk, or drive. They can choose to drive to safer, cleaner suburbs, visit parks, libraries, or the DMV out in the suburbs. They can hire their own armed security when there are no police, or just leave town altogether, which is sometimes happening. We need to provide public safety for the folks who don't have those options. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson and members of the City Council. My name is Mary Ann Fitzgerald, and I'm the chair of the Ash Creek Crestwood Neighborhood Association, which borders on Washington County in Southwest Portland, District 4. Our budget comments emphasize back to basics and community safety and livability. We want you to reassess the city's organizational structure and staffing to find efficiencies rather than eliminating positions that provide valuable services. We support public safety, including the police, PSR, and emergency services. We ask you to address homelessness and related issues in a humane and cost-effective nature. We support transportation safety programs, particularly those that support active transportation that addresses our climate change issues. We support parks operation and maintenance, including protection of our natural areas. We support our local community centers and community building events. And we support neighborhood association services like ours that leverage volunteer resources throughout Portland. So please seek efficiencies in services rather than cutting services or raising taxes. We encourage you to prioritize community safety and livability. Thank you.
Council, Mayor, my asks are the same as many in this city. The budget process should be democratized. The people should have a say. Portland street response must continue. The Portland Clean Energy Fund is not up for grabs. It is allocated money. No business must operate in this city without paying tax when we face a budget shortfall of this size and scale. And most importantly, no department must face qualified immunity from cuts, especially the department that eats a third of our budget and has cost the city millions in lawsuits for harming civilians. Portland cannot rely on the federal government to help or protect us anymore. We must seek self-sufficiency and publicize our utilities for the sake of our future survival as a city. I urge this council to keep this in mind and prioritize the people of Portland in the budgeting process. Thank you. I cede my time.
Could you please say your name for the record?
Stephanie McFerrin, resident of District 4. Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Aiden Summers. I'm a member of the local chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America, but tonight I'm speaking as a resident of District 4. I live over in Selwood. I want to just echo what a lot of folks have said tonight. The things that keep Portland a great city are these things that bring community together. And that is not law enforcement. That's not cops. I've had no positive influences with cops in our streets. I most often see them when they're trying to intimidate me when I'm standing alongside striking workers or when I'm protesting with other folks in the streets. And I don't think that that's actually contributing to a feeling of safety in the city. I think programs like Portland Street Response are much better uses of the city's of the city's time and money. Like they actually have the trust of folks in the city as opposed to cops. And the work that they do has tangibly more successful outcomes than cops in those same situations. Thank you for giving me the time to have comment and have a good night.
That's a great idea. Thank you. I'm Darcy. Admittedly, I had to ask. I'm District 4. My name's Darcy Gates. We are practicing group confidence here to talk about the importance that Golden Ball we hold for Golden Ball.
Hi, my name is Rigby. I think Golden Ball is super fun, and the crowd goes really wild. You can have a parent as a coach, and it's really cool, and you can play with your friends. You also get to do a pledge, which helps the players and the parents before the game. And I might want to be a referee.
I was on a team too. A couple. Hi, my name is Finn. I'm 9 years old and I play for the Maple Bears Golden Ball basketball team. Golden Ball gives me a chance to spend time with my friends, learning to be a team and working hard. Please find a way to make sure that the other kids like me have a chance to be a part of Golden Ball.
Thanks for letting us share. I learned about Golden Ball through another mom, and my older one, who's now in 6th grade, played for 3 years. And then when my younger one was old enough, I kind of learned how to create a team on our own. And so that was a really great opportunity as a mom to build community with other parents. And then also watch my kiddo build community with their friends. Not only that, but independence, health, confidence, teamwork, respect, all of the things that come with youth sports. I can say that as a former youth athlete. And so I'm also really into competitive sports, but Golden Ball really brings the community piece. And I think that community is everything. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tori Maurer. I spoke at the other 2 listening sessions about how I think that in Parks and Rec, we should be reducing management bloat. Today, I want to advocate for my own job, which is on the chopping block. You might see it in the Vibrant Communities 96-page document. My job is listed on page 44. It's kind of docked in there. I'm a park technician. It's not clearly listed in the package, but I am assured that it will be cut. So as a park technician in the Southeast Zone, we deal with a lot of vandalism, a lot of garbage. We're just really inundated. I never thought that when I accepted the job as park technician, I would be so much of a janitor, but that's the reality. My job, I go around early morning, go to the playgrounds and the bathrooms to open them and check for safety hazards first. Typically, there are folks who have camped out in the bathroom overnight. A fire started in there. That's just the average clogged toilets. Use contraceptives on playgrounds, needles, things like that, just to collect them, make it clean for the community. Then we move on throughout the day into more landscaping and caring for our parks in general. And so I just really feel like I am technically an essential worker. I shovel at the community center. I just feel like parks maintenance shouldn't be cut. I think it's really important. I think it's really important in the Southeast Zone, specifically historically underfunded and, some of the most diverse neighborhoods in the state. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Virginia Allaby, and my remarks tonight will focus on 2 issues that I believe merit being tackled early in the FY27 budget cycle. The first is some recent deterioration in the availability and accuracy of city budget related analysis. These shortcomings should obviously be remedied soon, given the city's budget challenges. But since they're really nitty gritty, I'm not going to bore you with them. I've just done some written testimony on them. The second and more daunting issue is overcoming the fiscal sustainability problems beginning to afflict some of the city offices and bureaus. The CBO budget reviews last year indicated that Prosper Portland, PBOT, the new permitting office, and Parks Bureau were to varying degrees in this camp. The problem is these entities' cost structures make it virtually impossible for them to maintain service levels without significant funding increases each year. This situation will become increasingly untenable if city revenue growth remains subdued for the rest of the decade. I believe bold action is needed to break the vicious cycle. First, having any programs in these bureaus that don't involve the delivery of core services temporarily shelved. And secondly, developing targeted metrics for gauging the Bureau's progress in paring costs and boosting productivity. In closing, I'd like to thank you for your tireless efforts on this year's city budget.
And now we'll do the one online comment we have remaining. Susan Lindsay, go ahead.
Oh, hi, everybody. This is Susan Lindsay. I am a resident in District 3, and I attended that session also remotely. It's kind of ironic. I'm sitting here in Beaverton, of all places, attending this meeting. And, Portland is such a special place, and we are in such a pickle right now. So I'd like to just summarize and say that we have to continue to support children. They are the future of our city, and if we lose families with children, and if we can't support poor working class families with children, we're in deep trouble. So my suggestions would be rein in overtime for everyone, get rid of positions that haven't been filled, and take a look at those managerial positions, even in bureaus that we're trying to take care of and protect, such as parks. Look at maybe an overloading of the managerial positions. We got into this pickle because of a lot of reasons, and we've got a new council and a new mayor who are doing everything they can to try to fix this city. We can't depend on the feds. We've got to take care of ourselves, and we don't want to lose any more people to the suburbs. Trust me, I'm sitting in one right now. This is not where we want to be. So let's do everything we can to support each other and figure out ways to make cuts that will prioritize the needs of the future of the city. That will be our children, our neighborhoods, and our working people. Thank you.
And we have an additional online comment. Babs, go ahead.
Hello, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Babs Vanilla here, 76-year-old lifelong Portlander, currently in District 2, Northeast, but I've promised myself that I would listen, watch, testify at all 4 budget sessions. So thank you all for being here tonight. And thank you for all who've gone before me, because after hours of practicing this afternoon, what I wanted to say in 90 seconds, I realize now all I have to say is ditto, 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 and ditto to those who have gone before me. Number 1, that PSEF funds be used for the strategic proposals that PSEF has and will put forth. And that includes proposals for parks and transportation. And along with that, 110% support of the parks programs, including all these amazing sports programs that several children testified on. Number 2, then public safety. Oh my goodness. Okay, public safety. And I can add my voice to all those who said, let's support Portland Street Response. Let's let it be 24/7. And then along with that, I will thank the person from the Fire Bureau who reminded me about the chat program. Yes, ditto to that. Whatever alternatives we have to police intervening in situations that are handled best by others, let's do it. Thank you.
And now we'll take our next 9 in-person comments. Skylar Cruz, Damon Mott-Story, Seth Caddy, Ryan Sotomayor, LeJune Thorson, Emery Gates, Essie Smith, Anne Marie Santos, and Keone Watchsmith.
Hello, my name is Skylar Cruz, and I'm a resident of District 4, Goose Hollow to be exact. As a trans woman, I experience discrimination on a daily basis, and microaggressions from small interactions with strangers, and at a national scale in the form of dehumanizing laws. In June, I will be in West Virginia for a wedding, where I will be unable to use state-owned women's restrooms. Because of many laws like this, forgive me for being skeptical of the law and those who uphold it. Current recommendations from the city administrator suggest numerous cuts, but notably, none of those cuts are to safety. What is safety exactly? Is it heavy police response and excessive overtime on election night for riots that did not happen? Sounds to me like Fox News has done a good job of painting Portland like a violent coup waiting to happen, and sadly, it's worked on our elected officials. I can tell you I didn't feel like rioting on election night. I felt like a hate campaign against me and my trans friends won. The wasted dollars from our city's riot response was just the cherry on top of an incredibly depressing night. If cuts to essential programs which build community go through without any cuts to safety, we will have failed. We will have admitted that the only way to improve society is through punitive action. Safety should not be immune to cuts. I don't want to live in a world where we let every other part of the city slowly crumble. Police can't fix problems at the root. They are inherently reactive solutions. Your decisions to cut community programs will be a failure and it will be remembered. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Wilson and City Council. Thank you so much for the opportunity to testify this evening. My name is Damon Montstory. I'm a District 1 resident and homeowner way out on 156th Avenue. Well aware of the infrastructure problems that we have in this city. So thank you for taking this very seriously. I want to testify today mainly in defense of the Portland Clean Energy Fund. So my entire career, about 9 years I've spent in Portland, has been for organizations that have worked on climate justice, environmental conservation, and social justice, and particularly racial justice and closing the racial wealth gap, racial economic wealth gap. Portland Clean Energy Fund was a community-led citizen referendum to put it on the ballot by gathering signatures. It is funded through a 1% surcharge on the wealthiest 1% of corporations. That's billion-dollar retailers that have over $500,000 in sales annually in Portland. And that funds racial justice and social equity programs, climate and community benefits. It's worth mentioning that all of Portland Clean Energy Fund is already allocated. And these funds actually majority already serve city bureaus. We solved our climate revenue issue by coming up with this dedicated funding mechanism. And legal settlements from situations with Winco, Safeway, and AT&T have actually made it clear that those corporations must pay the surcharge and they cannot pass it on to consumers. We solved our revenue crisis. We were always underfunded for climate justice. We now suggest that you solve your revenue crisis by finding additional dedicated funds and not trying to raid existing programs. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name's Seth Caddy. I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm here. I don't really have a prepared speech, but I'm here to testify on behalf of Portland residents that it's here we are once again, like many cities and states and all over the country that are having to face budget shortfalls or make tough decisions. And every time this happens in this country, it's always said, oh, you have to tighten your belt. You have to tighten your belt. Well, what do they mean by that? Oh, the community has to tighten its belt. We have to cut essential services like parks, rec, the things people use every day to enrich our lives and enjoy them. We need to prioritize, obviously, our parks, our clean energy fund, because we don't want to pollute our environment. We need to make sure that Portland Street Response is fully funded because yes, we do face challenges as the city, that much is clear, but we cannot solve our problems by continuing to throw money at police with overtime fees and terrorizing college students who want peace abroad. We can't do that. So once again, we either have to pull from the biggest line item in the budget, which is the police, or we need to find another source of revenue like taxing the rich. You have to choose one of those because the community can't lose again. Because
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, councilors and Mayor Wilson. I'm LeJune Thorson. I'm president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I'm here speaking on my own behalf, and I appreciate your time. Bringing visitors downtown is crucial to the economic vitality of the entire city. When we have people out and about visiting our parks and plazas, our food carts, small businesses, we bring safety, more safety to the city. There are some exciting projects that I hope you can say yes to. Public-private enterprises are very important in our city, and we're really lucky that we have people who are willing to invest in our city because they love our city, as you are. You wouldn't be here if you didn't love Portland. The James Beard Market is one. We hope that through the public-private partnership, that will happen. Frog Ferry is another. I don't have to tell you about the vitality that the art museum will bring. And refurbishing the Keller will bring long-term benefit to the city. In addition, I'm asking you to continue the city's support of neighborhood associations. The city gains far more benefit from our volunteers who work thousands of hours every month than it costs. And the benefit isn't just in terms of volunteer hours. Neighborhood associations encourage partnerships and a sense of ownership between the city and its citizens. Thank you.
Hello, all the counselors and Mayor Wilson. My name is Emery Gates, and I was a Golden Ball player for 3 years in elementary school. And I learned Golden Ball from one time in 3rd grade from my mom. And I had so much fun during those 3 seasons. I loved playing basketball with all the teammates I had. Some came and some went. I loved playing with them all, though. I had the most fun in this league. Everybody had their chance for a good game, and I don't want to forget all the things we did in this league once it might leave.
Hello, my name is Quentin, and I played on Golden Ball for about 2 years. Those 2 years meant a lot to me for many different reasons. It gave me time to play with my friends. It also gave me a way better, helped me get way better at basketball, and it helped me grow my love for basketball. And on going with that thought, I learned all the rules of basketball and made me want to be a referee when I grew up. I made so many new friends through Golden Ball, which made me a better player to this day. Thank you for your time.
Hello there. My name is Anne Marie Santos. I use she, her pronouns. I work for Portland Parks and Recreation and do ecological enhancement work within this district, but I'm speaking as a community member who resides in District 3. After digging through the recommended budget cuts from Michael Jordan, there's something that really stood out. The burden of this budget crisis is being inequitably shared, and our city's youth and their families are bearing the brunt of it. All recreation summer camps, all Sun School programs, all citywide programs, recreation center, and all of PPNR city nature environmental education programs are on the chopping block. For the environmental ed programs, last summer alone, they engaged nearly 7,000 youth and provided paid work opportunities in natural resource fields to 107 diverse teens and young adults. These programs help create a safer and more welcoming experience in nature, especially for our BIPOC community members who may not feel this way otherwise. All of these programs serve thousands of marginalized low-income youth and families and provide workforce development opportunities to teens and young adults. These programs are one of the main ways people from underserved communities find a career path into the city. Eliminating these programs are directly counter to the city core values of equity, anti-racism, and collaboration. Please consider redistributing some of the police bureau funds, or at least don't increase their budget by $15 million to cover overtime, so that the reductions to both Portland Parks and PIBA are not so devastating. According to a study by the After School Alliance, 82% of parents agree that after-school programs are keeping kids safe and out of trouble. 83% help working parents keep their jobs. Keeping our community safe include providing meaningful community building opportunities for its youth and reliable childcare for families. I urge you to think of a more creative and community and kids over cops centered way to solve this budget crisis. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Sotomayor. I'm the business manager of Labor's Local 483. We represent workers in transportation in Portland Parks and Recreation, the Bureau of Environmental Services, and many other bureaus. Y'all need some magic. So I'm going to bring some magic into the room. I moved here in Portland in 1990, the golden era of the Portland Trailblazers, also the golden era of one of the golden eras of hip hop. So little De La Soul. 3 is a magic number, right? 3 is a magic number. I've got 3 requests for you, 1 action item. Number 1, no layoffs. No layoffs to represented frontline workers. The cost when you lay off workers and the amount of time that you spend, it's not worth it. You're going to pull people back in a year or 2 in transportation. You're going to pull people back in a year or 2 in parks and recreation. It's detrimental to their families. It's detrimental to the community. It's detrimental to the programs and services. Number 2, no austerity. Austerity doesn't work. We don't need it. We don't want it. It's not going to help our communities. Number 3, cooperation. We need you to work with the county. We need you to work with the state. We need you to figure out other revenue streams, not on the backs of workers, not on the backs of the members of our community. And finally, very simple, the action item is make amends. Make amends to the workers of Portland. Make amends to the communities of Portland. Make amends to ourselves. Invest in the city. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Hello, my name is AC Smith. I'm a resident of District 1 and I work here in District 4. I commute via Max every single day and I have seen up close and personal the houselessness crisis in Portland. And I would like to urge every single member of City Council and the mayor to rethink what safety means. I do not think that additional policing or an increase to the policing budget is going to make our community safer. I have seen police brutalize homeless people. I have seen police brutalize people having mental health crises when we have alternatives that can be fully funded, like Portland Street Response. I sincerely urge you all to reject the additional funding request from PPP. They're already over 30% of the general fund. We don't need to be raiding the Clean Energy Fund when we can make cuts to things that are proven not to work and make people feel more unsafe. Please fully fund and expand and prioritize life-affirming services like Parks and Rec and the childcare programs they provide, Portland Street Response, and more housing options for our community members. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Keone Walksmith, and my family has owned Dan and Louie's Oyster Bar for 100 years. We've been through 2 world wars and a depression and many other challenging times. Today, we are facing some of the most challenging in our company's history. We are part of a group of businesses called Ankeny Alley Association. We meet at least twice a month and have a great attendance. The meetings have become a way for us to get together, build consensus, and help each other make Ankeny Alley a great destination for Portlanders and those that visit our beautiful city. We're also building relationships in our neighborhoods and often have the Saturday Market Old Town Community Association, Street Roots, and others attend our meetings. We need to collaborate to build a strong neighborhood. Times are already tough, and we need all the help we can get as we prepare for the closure of Burnside Bridge and 200,000 fewer people passing by our businesses every day. I am here tonight because the Portland, or the Public Realm and Street Activation Program, is now not funded in the current draft of the budget. The momentum I'm talking about is centered on the Public Street Plaza program. Our Plaza's coordinator has helped us convene meetings, build partnerships, successfully apply for grants, and brainstorm new ideas. I have never seen anything like this in our time in the business. Thank you for your time.
And we have one online comment. Susan, if you're able to unmute, go ahead.
Mayor Wilson and councilors, I'm Susan Keel. I'm the past president of Pioneer Courthouse Square and the current chair of the Nonprofit Security Committee. The square is overseen by a volunteer board, and we've worked in partnership with the city for over 40 years. Together, we support the day-to-day operations of the most visited park in Portland. We have about 1 million visitors there, and it's a very diverse audience for our cultural celebrations and community events. We handle the cleaning and trash and recycling services, trash removal, and work to keep this clean and safe, as well as addressing the graffiti and vandalism and public safety issues on that square. But one of the most important services, basic, if you will, is toilets. And what I'm talking to you about today is the restroom. It is the largest public, centrally located restroom in the city, and it's an all-user restroom. The 11 stalls that are in there provide about 26,000 flushes in a month. The operation of this restroom supports visitors and businesses and residents. A number of years ago, when City Council identified the need for this restroom and supported it, they were going to annually support the funding of this restroom. The safe operation, the public accessibility on a 7-day-a-week basis will cost
Thank you.
$140,000.
Thank you for your comments. And we'll take our next in-person commenters. Alex Javier, Marisa Wolf, Sandy Polishul, Brian Grants, Jason Woodman, Ethan Winter, Carrie Koch, Chad Finan, and Olivia Hessenkamp.
Hello, counselors. Thank you for having us, and thank you for having everybody here. My name is Jason. I'm a state worker. I'm a member of SEIU 503, and I'm also a member of the Communist Party. And we've heard a lot today about the police budget, and it's the largest portion of our general fund, as we saw in the introduction. Shortfall we're facing is 90 million, and the police has 300 million budget. I think it's quite a simple equation there what to do. There's also a myth going around that the more police funding decreases crime, but the stats don't back that up. There's no evidence that police funding the police more decreases crime. In fact, perhaps the opposite is true. The PPB is overfunded, over-equipped, and does little to no good for the city, as they attack protesters, disrupt picket lines, and harass the homeless. At a time when we're facing a federal fascist dictatorship, we cannot cut any more funding from our community, nor can we give further funding to the police force as we're already under attack. Thank you. Fund our communities, fund PSR, but don't fund the police.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mayor Wilson, councilors. Wonderful to see you. My name is Marisa Wolf. I am the artistic director at Portland Center Stage. We are right here downtown in the Pearl, and we're the second largest theater company in the state. We draw 100,000 audiences to downtown every year. We serve 9,000 students in our metro region, and we have 70 free programs that draw 8,000 people a year. We are a vital part, the arts and culture are a vital part of the downtown core, and we create belonging. We also create a space of resilience so that constituents and you all can continue to dream into what's possible in our democracy. I want to share with you that as we keep the lights on in downtown Portland, the arts and culture nonprofits put $364 million into the economy in Portland every year. And for every dollar spent at the arts and culture centers like Portland Center Stage, $40 are put into the economy. We need your help. we are on a razor's edge trying to stay alive. And you can see that in theaters and arts and culture sector throughout Portland. And so my ask is that you invest in funding the City Arts and Culture Office, increase the arts tax fund only $30 since its inception. We can do better than that. Let's raise that arts tax. Thank you so much for your support and investment in the vitality of our community.
Hi, my name is Alex Javier, and I am a District 4 resident and a City of Portland employee. But in this moment, I'm speaking on my own behalf. The budget proposals laid forth by the city will leave the most vulnerable and underserved Portlanders on their own. Most of the programs that serve low-income youth, like City Nature Environmental Education, the Sun Schools program, and the summer recreation camps, are proposed to be severely reduced or cut entirely. For a city that states anti-racism and equity as its first core values, this is an abandonment of these values. These are critical services and opportunities for families that could not afford access otherwise. This is food for young people in the time they don't receive school lunches, job training and job experience for young people looking to begin their careers and serve their community, access to nature or swim lessons, things that low-income urban individuals and people of color have been excluded from due to systemic racism, classism, and the high cost of outdoor recreation. This is a time when nonprofits and federal programs that serve the most vulnerable are being targeted and shuttered by the anti-DEI agenda. Are we as a city going to double down these efforts and abandon the people we promised to serve? Or will we stand by our morals and do what Portland has always done, find creative solutions to care for each other? I have heard no creative talk from Bureau leadership. What about $170,000 salary cap for upper level management? Offering reduced hours for many staff who can work 90% and still qualify for healthcare, voluntary retirement incentives, reducing programs equitably instead of cutting youth services altogether. The leadership has instead decided to protect itself and abandon workers and the people. Management makes up 20% of the city staff, but only 12% of the proposed layoffs. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carrie Coe. I'm president of the City of Portland Professional Workers Union and a City of Portland employee and a resident of Portland. And I am up here to encourage you to prioritize funding for the people who do the city's business, who do the people's business of every single program that you've heard being advocated up here so far tonight. I'm talking about the people who you see staffing summer free-for-all, fixing our roads, Portland Street Response, meeting the needs of our city's most vulnerable. But I'm also talking about the city workers we don't see, the folks who do the communications that actually touched every single person in this room tonight and told them where to come and how to be engaged. The community engagement workers that are out there with giant poster boards of street expansions in 12 languages, talking to our city's most marginalized folks. And the analysts behind the scenes, making sure our grants get out the door, people get funded, and people get the services they need. And the coordinators managing improvements and maintenance at streets and at the water treatment plants. So we are asking that you prioritize your employees and the people doing the city's work and the people's business, the people who are here tonight, and that the people of Portland don't get what they want, what they need, what they deserve, what they're legally required to have without the staff providing that every single day. Thank you.
Sandy Polishuk. I live in District 4, newly in District 4. Thank you, Mayor Wilson and councilors for providing this opportunity. Everything I've been here from the beginning in the other room listening, and everything everyone is advocating for is important and worthy. But my cause is not just important and worthy, it's existential. It's the climate. If we don't fix the climate, the rest of it really doesn't matter. But it's also very easy to ignore that issue, except when the weekend is 116 degrees or when 17 inches of rain falls at once. But those are very few days. So most of the time we don't pay attention. But I want to tell you, it's very important and you must take care of it. So don't short PSEF. It was created by the people, had an overwhelming vote for it, had workers from every part of our activist community, from the faith community to the BIPOC community and everything in between. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson and city councilors for your time this evening. My name is Brian Granz. I live in District 3, and I'm here to voice support for Portland Parks and Recreation's citywide sports office. I think there was a lot of inference probably that might be what was about to come out of my mouth. This is my 10-year-old son, Luca, who has played for me for many years. And in the audience, I also have Jackson Shamrell, who played for me this past many seasons, and his younger brother, Hank Shamrell, who hopes to do Golden Ball next season. I've been a special education teacher for 14 years. I can speak to what equity looks like, what inclusive activities look like in our community. I can say that I've never seen a sports organization like what Parks and Rec is doing embrace those values. I've never seen another organization do it as well. That's quick, isn't it? So 2,400 youth ages 9 to 11 are impacted by such a cut, which by my math, which bears some fact checking, would be about 10% of youth in Portland in that age bracket participates in those Golden Ball teams. And the fees are about $50 per player versus probably $1,000 for AAU and club ball. And with that, I'll let my son close. Thank you for your time.
Well, Golden Ball has been a great step up from the old rec league that I was doing that has been more competitive. And as my dad was saying, it's nice and pretty affordable. And I'm planning in years to come to possibly ref some games.
I got the mic. Hi, my name is Benjamin Krantz. I am a resident of District 4. I am a nobody. I am a newborn parent and father. Both of my sons were born in Portland. My wife and I were not from Portland, and we're very just concerned about the future of the city and the long-term consequences of fiscal austerity as we continue the path forward with the current tax revenue system. So I'm just wondering, what plans do we have in 10 years, not just this year? Because my concern, and I think everyone else, the room and their concern, their number one concern isn't what we're going to cut this year, but what we might have to potentially cut next year and the year after that, unless we fix the tax system. And if the economy, who knows what the economy will happen, but we can't have an optimistic viewpoint of the economy without having real action that will lead to real consequences, because part of it is we just have to look through money. There's better solutions that are not money related where we can build better communities, end homelessness, give our kids free preschool, give our kids free healthcare, because I can tell you that's a nightmare. It's a nightmare today to deal with that as a low income parent. And that's all I got to say.
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Ethan Winter. I'm an economist with the U.S. Forest Service. Obviously, opinions my own. We live in an age of austerity. We have a federal government that is slashing social services en masse, and they're cutting thousands of federal workers. Working people will pay for these cuts with their health. We should not follow their model of austerity. It's a path toward further ruin. We see this in our country's history. Most of the people in this room have only lived in an age of austerity. The federal government has spent the last 50 years cutting social services, public programs, and taxes for the rich. Ask yourself, have the cuts you've seen in your lifetime fixed the problem? American economists tell us that cutting social services and tax breaks save us money and encourage economic growth. But since 1975, 79 trillion in wealth has been sapped from the bottom 90% of Americans since 1975, per the Rand Institute. Cities all over the country have failing budgets and cannot find money because they aren't looking in the pockets of the wealthy. We know that the greatest economic growth in this country came when income taxes were at 90% and when we lived under New Deal policies. The rich did not flee from the US then. The rich will not flee from our city now. Working Portlanders make the best food, we manage the best forests, and we make the most walkable neighborhoods in the country. The rich want that just as much as we do. We cannot cut programs to save ourselves. We cannot poke holes in our life raft and expect to stay afloat. Tax the rich, tax the corporations. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Olivia Hazenkamp. Thank you for hearing me out. I am a member of Critical Resistance Portland. I am an educator and a resident of District 3. I have been in many situations where I felt the need to call someone for help. And I recognize that I was taught, I think many of us were taught, that police are those people. But to be honest, the police have never actually helped me. It's always been my friends and neighbors who show up when I need them. It's things like reliable public transit, housing, food programs like Equitable Giving Circle, childcare, everything that everyone has been saying to fund tonight. And I'm just here to be one more voice that we've seen how the war on drugs, tough on crime policies, all of the recent criminalization of people who are just trying to survive, it's never worked. And look at where we are now. This is a direct result of organized abandonment and what happens when we invest all of our money into police and criminalizing people when we actually should be investing in everything that makes people happy and safe and happy to be with each other. So fund the people, not police. Thank you so much. And thank you to those of you who are already trying to do that.
Thank you for your time. My name is Chad Fennon. I'm on behalf of Portland Parks and Recreation, speaking specifically for the Youth Golden Ball program. I'd like to start off with a quote, "Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do," a quote by the legendary basketball coach, John Wooden. Before any decision may be made, I urge you all to weigh the benefits versus the costs of your decisions. And please do not just think about the present, for the ramifications of your decisions will likely leave a lasting impact on not only the youth, but the community as a whole. Our youth will be the force that pushes our generation into the future. Sports, and especially at a young age, are and will remain a core building block to establishing friendships, working hard to be the best you can be, learning to work as a team toward a common goal, and expending energy to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And as a latent function, youth sports give us spectators entertainment and pride for where our children and fellow city members may lead the city for its future. I believe youth sports to be the first integral step in life in helping you understand your work ethic, your character, your drive to achieve goals, and what motivates you to be the best version of yourself. Those four things I know all of you possess because look how far you've come since your youth. Please give these children, our children, every opportunity from a young age to be able to find themselves, find the best version of themselves. Help define your legacy by gifting our youth the opportunity to begin establishing their own. Be the leaders we need for our youth to thrive for the generations to come. Thank you.
one woman of color on the desk. Portland City Council passed a policy banning license plate back in 2015. It is still being sprayed in our parks, in our cities, in our public lands, where your children play sports, where I walk my service dog every day. It is shocking to me in this supposedly environmental city that we know this is what happens to the skin of the groundskeepers who spray this at work. This is the surfactant that goes through the leaves, it goes through the skin. This man had children. He had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he got a multi-million-dollar settlement from Monsanto. Stop spraying this chemical in the city. Thank you. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hello? Hi. Yeah, my husband was speaking earlier, Benjamin Krantz. I think he's right there. Yeah. We're transplants. All I can say is about my story, and I understand the same feeling because I started out here homeless and got a job at Fred Meyer's, and I didn't know I was doing a double person job, only getting paid one. And you know, and then I also found out I got pregnant during COVID. You know, I'm very happy that all these resources are near, you know, in Portland. And, you know, having kids now, all I can say, these resources are, you know, I'm very grateful, and you shouldn't cut it, because being a parent now, you don't realize how things hit you in the face. And you just gotta laugh about it. And a lot of people struggle, and you know, I just speak up and I listen to other people, and that's all we want. We just want to hear each other out. And I tell my kids, like, I don't know how long we'll be here. I don't know how long you'll be here, but you're gonna be a caregiver or a janitor, so you gotta like know what you gotta do to figure out how to survive with these resources available. So please don't cut these funds, because you know, I
Thank
like
you for your
being here.
time.
Really good.
Could you restate your name for the record? I
Yes,
didn't catch it.
Marie Louise Manassas Krantz.
Thank you.
Come on, Mika.
And now we'll take our next set of folks. Diana Stewart, Alejandro Villarruido Medina, Allison Paley, Darlene Urban Garrett, Brigade McGrath, Ryan Hashigan, and TJ Anderson.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and councilors. Thank you all. My name is Diana Stewart. I'm on the board of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I'm speaking on my own behalf tonight. I live in the core downtown. I love Portland. I'm staying around. I'm not leaving, but I walk the downtown streets. I see the empty stores. I see the businesses leaving. I have neighbors and friends who've deserted the downtown and moved to the suburbs. Bless them. So I am here on my own behalf asking you that when you go through this impossible process, and I empathize with you all for having so little time to make such big decisions, but I'm asking you all to ask a couple of basic questions when you look at each of the line items that you're going to need to address. Number one, is this expense or this line item essential for bringing downtown Portland back? As downtown Portland goes, the city goes, the region goes, the state goes. Number two, is this line item critical for citizens' health and safety? Couple of main areas to look at when you're asking those questions. Number one, please fully fund the mayor's efforts. Thank goodness there's somebody with urgency to address the plight of our houseless, homeless neighbors on the streets. We need to do that. We need to address behavioral health, mental health, and housing needs. Two, maintain essential services in the downtown. Three, yes, our parks are critical for Portland, but let's go back to the 2019 levels Let's look for essential services and essential employees. Thank you all so much.
Good evening. My name is Alejandro Viraldo Medel. I work for the chat team at Portland Fire. These items are my own. I am one of 22 chat responders who respond to 911 calls to help Portlanders. Our main goal is responding to low acuity calls, connecting them to their primary care physician or urgent care, eliminating the use of ED rooms as needed, as well as responding to overdoses and actually getting to the root cause of our opioid crisis that is affecting the city by offering resources such as the life-saving medication known as Suboxone to help with withdrawals and getting them to a detox clinic that will break the cycle of the opioid usage. Chad really stood out when our city was struggling with our ambulance provider, being level 0, known as no ambulances available. I cannot tell you how many times I've showed up on scene, realized that this individual would help connect them to a primary care physician or clinic, clear the ambulance, and as soon as I do that, they drop a cardiac arrest. Cutting this program will also greatly affect the community of color of immigrants community due to the fact that them being new to the United States, sometimes the best healthcare system to them is the 911 service. But also eliminate us, that would also cut someone like me to provide for them and advocate for them at the primary care office rather than just putting a Band-Aid and possibly breaking, but fixing this issue permanently. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Allison Paley. I work at a Portland Community Center, but these comments are my own. That said, that's the perspective from which I'm coming. I need the city council to understand that every day we are serving as a place where communities can gather. We are teaching both kids and adults to swim. We provide affordable childcare to low-income families and provide a place for teenagers to hang out after school. Also, we help the most vulnerable members of our community get connected to resources that they desperately need and provide an easy place for them to access shower services. Whether or not it is broadly acknowledged, we are part of your homelessness services system. I need the city council to understand that when it talks about wanting to cut centers and hours and maintenance, those are the things it is talking about cutting. I would urge the city council to preserve community centers, preserve the people who staff them, and preserve the maintenance that let us do our work. Our work is important. Please let us do it.
Go ahead. Come on up.
Hello, Mayor and City Councilors. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Ryan Hashkin, and I own a business in Old Town, Icicle Tricycles, and run a nonprofit, Better Block PDX. Better Block works with community groups, PSU students, and PBOT to test out community-inspired projects in the public right-of-way. One of these collaborative projects is Ankeny Plaza, born between Old Town, Ankeny Alley Association, neighbors, businesses, and PBOT's Public Plaza program. The PBOT Plaza program provides crucial opportunities for engagement and economic development. Ankeny Plaza recently hosted many of you as we joined Mayor Wilson for a ceremonial lighting of Winter Lights Festival, bringing good news and illuminating Old Town and Ankeny Alley. Our Old Town and Ankeny Alley Association community is about to stare down a 5 to 7 year period of bridgeless Burnside. And now more than ever, signature downtown destinations like Ankeny Plaza are crucial to economic vitality. Please continue to fund the PBOT Public Plaza program. Thank you.
I will do this. Anywho, hello, everybody. My name is TJ Anderson. I am a disability advocate out of Portland Community College. Today, these comments are just me. I live in District 4, and as of 2019, I was one of those people living on the streets. Today, I go to college at Portland State for a double degree in business administration and quantitative economics with minors in leadership and mathematics. I know it is a tough budget cycle. I know you're trying. So instead of program safety, picking one over the other, let me ask you for one thing, for what's next.
for all the differences of all the people here, if we cannot bring more money in, all of us will face cuts of programs that we like. I know it's hard, but we all did come here. We all came to speak. We came here because we care. So let us help you. So we can make this city the Rose City. Beautiful once again. Make it so we can raise money here. We can raise families here. Sorry, I'm carrying the microphone. I may not get the level properly. But so our college students can help, and so our homeless can go from on the streets to now giving comment. Just let us help. Thank you.
Can you hear me? My name is Darlene Urban Garrett. I am the Executive Director of the District 4 Coalition. And my comments tonight are kind of a mix between being the Executive Director of the District 4 Coalition and being a resident of downtown. As you know, the coalitions took a hit last year when we became the District 4 Coalition, tripled in size and received about $40-some thousand to make all that happen. So we took the hit last year. And now this year in Michael Jordan's budget, we took another 8% hit, which cut out no one-time funding for insurance and no small grants. And I know the small grants sound like a small thing. It's about $45,000 a year. But it makes a lot of impact to the number of community-based organizations and small nonprofits or even just startup nonprofits. So small grants are really relevant. I also want to say, and this is on behalf of me personally, I live downtown. I live in and I work in Old Town, and I live in the middle of our housing crisis. The main thing that I wanted to say here is please fund the mayor's budget, whatever it is, for day shelters and night shelters. This is critical. Getting our houseless off the street is critical to saving the downtown and our very relevant tax base that the downtown brings to us. That's all. I'll close out right there.
And that concludes our opportunities for testimony this evening. It is now 8:31. So thank you all for taking the time to come to this session and participate and share your thoughts with City Council and the mayor. Have a good evening.